Today we are reviewing our last player uncovered for Warhammer 2, and it is LS's own TheCentralScrutinizer, current rank Platinum, and an absolutely haunting image that they gave me, just staring into your soul. But it's the one they chose, and I will honor that. Their faction mains, I'm sure people will be excited to see Norska. They do actually play Norska a lot. Chaos, Empire, and the Lizardmen. Strength will be spreading out the damage among his own forces, and strong threat management. My suggestions would be his calves seem to clump a lot. And I am not saying mine don't. I'm just saying what I saw. I actually have a huge problem with clumping my calf. Huge! TheCentralScrutinizer playing his Empire against RTK Hummus Boy on the Greenskins. Okay. So, we have a pretty heavy Cav Corps. A lot of Empire Knights, Knights of the Blazing Sun. We have 3 Outriders, Volkmar, some infantry, and a Firecaster. This dumbass took Wurzag. And, of course, there's a Firecaster. So Wurzag's gonna get fucking bodied. Alright, fireballs start raining in. You can see these Outriders are always going to move as kind of a collective. And I'm not saying this like, wow, Central Scrutinizer, just fix this, you dumb piece of shit. Like, I do this all the time, but I can still recognize that it's wrong. These Outriders are too clumped up, especially these two that are on top of each other. Only half their models are going to shoot, because the other half will be blocked. You can see the volume of fire coming out of that one is more than coming out of these two, because they're in each other's way. Over here, Wurzag has netted down Volkmar the Grim, and he's going to try to snipe him out, but Scroot will decently cover him, get him back into his lines. Empire Knights are going to charge up, deal with some Orc Boar chariots and such, and now the battle's begun in earnest. Waz wearing off, and when it wears off, then he commits his Empire Knights and does some good stuff over there. And he's kind of committed to creating a back zone for himself, running away with the Outriders especially, because they'll need to carry this game. Looks like the Bright Wizard gets caught up a little bit, but Volkmar's alive, Outriders are alive, so the Outriders can kill anything that matters, and then Volkmar can cycle charge infantry into the late game, which is kind of happening at the moment. The army is essentially down to Volkmar and the Outriders. There's a couple Knights of the Blazing Sun, but they're largely getting crumbed. For the Greenskins, they've been run out of everything. Outriders have shot most things to death, and now they're going to run away from the Black Orc Big Boss. Cycle charging, keeping your cav alive is kind of important. Good job, Scroot. So he's just running away, shooting, running away, shooting, running away, shooting. Volkmar and his Empire Knights are cycle charging the Black Orcs and Black Orc Big Boss as much as they can. Wurzag's trying to keep up but stay away enough that he doesn't get shot by the Outriders, but he eventually has to commit and dies. Good cav management. All the Outriders paid for themselves and more. Empire Knights did what they had to. Volkmar and the Bright Wizard both did great. Infantry all died a horrendous death. Horrendous death. Second replay sent me was Lizardmen versus Dwarves. This is kind of a weird Lizardman build. This was before Ark of Sotek was limited to 1. If you noticed that, and wait, 2? Yeah, they used to be 2. Yeah, Oxyotl, some Skirmishers, some Saurus, stuff like that. Noticing his enemy has an organ gun, doesn't move into range at all. He is fulfilling the attacking role with these invisible units, so just because the dwarves can't see them doesn't mean the attacking role isn't being fulfilled. And he's moving up. Oxyotl's poking while these guys flank, and noticing that his opponent left the organ gun largely exposed, he gets a little bit of nice poke in there, and then runs away with very little cost. Oxyotl still poking on the backside. It looks like he is also shooting at the organ gun, but it is hard to tell. Ancient Salamander does great damage to clumped up units, so he's also going to kite a little bit, but then he ends up committing with his Arks of Sotek and Red Skinkosaurus, etc. Runs in. Summoned Manticore is going to rout off the organ gun, and his skirmishers will probably make sure that that thing doesn't come back. Where's Oxy? Oxy's just shooting at Thoric Ironbrow at this point. Ark of Sotek taking a lot of damage, everything moving in, but you can see right here is what I'm talking about, where, like, look at his health bars. He still has almost all of his units, but the damage is just quite spread out. He doesn't really let... The next game's the best for this, but you can see here, he doesn't really let too many units just get focused down to death. And you can't save everything, obviously, but I'm just saying, it's not like there's a ton of... Like, half his army's full health and half his army's dead. And him taking out the organ gun nice and early was good threat prioritization. Then he moves on to poking Thoric and the double master engineers. There were Trollhammer torpedoes somewhere, and I don't see them. I haven't seen them all game, so I'm guessing he took them out pretty quick, which again kind of proves my point. He's just pretty good at identifying what he needs to kill and how to kill it. Then it becomes the late game Thoric and Hero Blob, and a Summon Manticore will seal their fate. Yeah, wherever these guys are, they didn't get off too many valleys. Here's the organ guy. Pretty good. And then we have IP1, which I think it means Ice Power 1. On Chaos versus the Empire, TheCentralScrutinizer will show us how to spread out damage. He has a Hell Cannon, has superior range, decides there's no reason to move up, and he starts firing on the skirmish cav. Then he sends out some shielded infantry and dogs to zone off the pistoliers and outriders and such. Really just make him pay a big price. There are some outriders with grenade launchers. He wants to keep his infantry away from those, so maybe that's why he sent out the dogs. The dogs are a less priority target. And it looks like the Hell Cannon's getting some nice shots on a couple of clumped up units of skirmish cav from Ice Power, blah blah blah. A little bit of back and forth, poke and stroke, dodge and podge, etc. Boop, boop, boop. We're just watching a Hell Cannon shoot for a little bit, but you can see he keeps rotating out what units are getting shot, so nothing routes, and Ice Power can't chase them off with like Franz or something. Mirror Guard are taking a little bit, these Castmars are taking a little bit, Dogs are taking a little bit. It's just good spread. But I really like sending forward like the shielded units when they're about to get charged, then you start to pull up the dogs, then you start to pull up the skirmish cav and stuff. But you can see the skirmish cav is all moving around in one blob. Again, I'm noticing that they need to split up a little bit, or they'll get in their own way. With these type of skirmish cav, they don't get in their way as much. They still do a little bit, but not as much. But any problem with clumping is any damage spells that possibly come towards them are going to hit multiple, and if your opponent's shooting at you, it makes it much harder for them to miss if there's a big clump, right? Because if the bullet goes slightly off target, I mean, there might be another horse standing there just ready to get hit. But he is still doing overall very well. Spread out the damage amongst his army. You can see all their health bars are a little bit pinged. Archaon hasn't taken too much. And now Ice Power skirmishers are running out of health. Still Scroot fights back. Charges forward with some Mirror Guard, fights Empire Knights for a little bit, but his Hell Cannon does eventually run out of ammo, and the Empire soldiers are somehow standing firm. Keeps moving up with the skirmish cav again in a bit of a blob, and when those grenade launchers get a shot off, they really do some good damage. So I would recommend, fixing that. Now, Franz is in the sky against two Manticores, and he's trying to cycle charge Archie, so it's really about not letting the Manticores fight him alone, but not letting the Manticores get so far away that they can't support Archaon when Franz dives down. We can see so far he's managing that very well. Chaos has devolved into a bit of a blob where they just kind of want to kill everything they possibly can, and that is okay. Archaon tries to bail out a Manticore instead of the other way around, and now Karl Franz is heal cap, meaning he has taken a lot of damage, even if it looks healthy at the moment. Skirmish cav for the Empire is running very low on ammunition. And Franz yet again gets caught up. We can see every time he gets caught out... Franz catches out Archaon. There's a Manticore nearby to turn it into a 2v1. And Franz is not enjoying this very much. All the elite Chaos Infantry is going to try and make their way back, try and bail out Archie, who will, in fact, duck behind his Manticore to hide from Franz, but there is skirmish cav poking in at him. Second Manticore needs to be rallied at some point to come back. Franz is thinking about diving it down again, but he takes a fireball in the butt. And two Manticores are going to fight him in the sky. Will they do a lot of damage? Yes, and he tries to charge Archaon, but he fails. Takes a lot of damage. He is going to rout. And then from there, it looks like the Empire starts to fall apart. Some skirmish cav is going to chase off Franz. Try and make sure he doesn't come back, but they do get routed off. Franz will rally. Chaos has one hell of a blob left, though. And Archie's safe in the middle of it all. Skirmish cav is all out of ammo. Yada yada, but even now, if we look at the army, I mean, there's still plenty of good, healthy Chaos Warriors in here. A couple Manticores as well. And Archie's still alive. So it's good management. Good target priority. Manticores take out Franz, and then Ice Power will concede. It's good stuff. Scroot's a really good player. Plays Norska, which is always hype. I personally don't enjoy playing Norska, but I enjoy seeing good Norska play because it's just rare and unique. Yeah. So if you're over on Murphlur's stream or Contende's stream, Scroot will probably pop in and say hi. And if you run into him, tell him he's a meanie head. Tell him he's a big poo-poo dunderface, and I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Everyone appreciates random insults from strangers on the internet. It's just great. Just great. Okay. Goodbye forever.